Good afternoon, everybody. I'd like to welcome you to today's webinar. My name is Nadine Planzer. I'm the BD Director, Environmental Markets at SustainCERT. And today we're going to be presenting our Verra verification service powered by a digital platform. Please feel free to post your questions in the Q&A function, and we'll have some SustainCERT colleagues answer as we go through the presentation. I'll also give you a quick demo of our digital platform, and we'll probably have 10 to 15 minutes for a Q&A session. So please raise your hand, and then the moderator will pick you, and you can actually just verbally, present your question. Okay, so a little bit about SustainCERT. For those of you that don't know us, we are an impact verifier. We were founded in 2018, and we have a mission to develop DMRV solutions to bring credibility to climate action. You probably know us as the official certification body for Gold Standard for Global Goals. In this work, we have been certifying over 1,200 projects, contributing to over 100 million tons of CO2 credits issued, and over 14 billion of value created. So what makes us unique? So we give project level verification, and also we work with reputable standards such as Gold Standard, Verra, but also in our Scope 3 value chain sector with the Greenhouse Gas Protocol and SBTi. So some milestones we just like to talk about is that in 2018, we've become the official certification body for Gold Standard. And also we have been offering validation and verification services for the microscale scheme under GS4GG since 2018. So recently in July, actually, we've become accredited under ISO 14065 as a VVB. And also a month after that in August, we've actually been approved by Verra to become a VVB for the VCS, the Verified Carbon Standard. So what makes us unique? You can see here, this is a competitor sort of landscape. On the left-hand side, you see some competitor types. And on the right-hand side, you see sort of the capabilities, scope, and addressable markets. So down below, you see SustainCERT, and you can see that we're actually ticking the boxes on all sort of 6 areas. So we have a sustainability focus, digital focus, project level verification, and we address the carbon credits sort of market, voluntary carbon credits, and also emission factors and Scope 3 interventions. So enough about SustainCERT. Let's get on to the Verra verification service. So we're offering Verra verification services. So like I already mentioned, we are now a VVB. We have been accredited for projects that are reducing greenhouse gas emissions from fuel consumption. This is a Scope 1 under ANAP. And to reference that, it's a Scope 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, and 7 under Verra. So for any projects that are wanting to issue carbon credits under the VCS standard, under these scopes, we can do the verification service for you. So we're striving to give you excellence in our verification service. And how do we propose to do that? Well, we're ISO accredited. We have a senior auditing team. We have a dedicated customer experience team for you. We are complying with all Verra VCS requirements, and we have an energy scope expertise. So talking about the powered by the digital platform. So the platform-driven approach really is going to allow for you to have ease in the verification process. It's going to help you streamline the document management, track the workflows. We have a user-friendly interface. It's going to enable remote collaboration between you and your auditor, and it's data secure. So if you're already doing some certification work with us, you'll be familiar with the SustainCERT platform. And now it's been actually enhanced with a feature to offer you a verification service. So what are some of the benefits we are offering our clients? Transparency. So we want to give you clear pricing, and we want you to be able to track your workflow and the steps in the SustainCERT platform. And also, of course, we want a smooth process. So via the platform, you have a digitized workflow, streamlined document management, and this will simplify your verification process. So this is the slide I like to focus on, especially here, showing you our global team of experts that are there to serve you. As you see on the right-hand side, we have Shiva Sharma. He's our Validation Verification Director, and we have senior auditors working for you, and their names are all listed here. Our auditors have over 10 years work experience. They've been working with reputable auditors in this business, including also in CDM with Verra and Gold Standard, among others. You can also see that in the different regions, we have experts that are going to be able to help you with the on-site visits. So we have a verification team with a vast experience working in renewable energy, cook stove, safe water supply, energy in the energy sector under Verra and Gold Standard. On the left-hand side, you can see we have our customer experience team. So you're going to have a dedicated customer success manager, Nikita Patier, and they will be able to answer questions and queries you might have, for example, around the Verra standard, around the methodology requirements, about your contracting, invoicing, status of your project and progress, and document management. So what we want to offer is really for you to be able to always be in contact with SustainCERT, have a close relationship with your auditor. The idea really is to close out the issues as fast as we can together, either during your site visits or remote audits. And then with the SustainCERT platform, it's really going to be a smooth process. So looking to the future, I'm working towards digitizing verification. So at SustainCERT, we really do believe in DMRV. We feel like this is the only way to foster trust between actors and really show credibility and integrity in the market. We've been working very closely with different actors in the market, among others, the standards, but also with project developers. We've been running pilots for the last year with 27 different projects, looking at how can we digitize the verification process, how can we digitize the process to make it really to transform it from a manual one to a digital process. And so we're going to continue working on that. It's not the service we're offering right now, but we're looking forward to offering you this service in the near future. So quickly, how does a DMRV process look like? This is kind of a generic, let's say, diagram. Really, the idea is that the SustainCERT platform would be enabled and enhanced with an additional feature, which would also allow for data verification and processing in the platform. So this means that the auditor would be actually supported by data science and algorithms to help with the verification process. It also could include doing a greenhouse gas emission calculation and reporting on dashboards. So what kind of project types can we verify? These are some examples. So we can do renewable energy grid connected, some example methodologies there, cook stoves, solar water cookers, solar water heaters, fuel switch, LED, solar home systems. So these are some examples of the types of projects that we actually can verify for you. So yeah, that brings us to the end of the presentation. What I'd like to do now is actually provide you with a demo. So don't mind the sort of switch that I'm going to do here. So this is actually the SustainCERT platform that I'd like to demo. You might be familiar with it when you're doing the certification work with us. So right here, actually, if you're doing verification with us, the first thing you would have to do is actually register your project, right? So let us know which project it is and actually sign up. You would do that by clicking this button right here. And for example, and again, this is a test environment. So for example, if you type in the project ID number, so this is a Verra project ID number, so you would be able to get the information from the registry. So we'll just give it a second here, and it's going to pull up the information. So these are the 10 fields, for example, of the information that it's pulling from a registry. And just to give you an idea, so this is the registry page of Verra. You can see project 4519 as an example, and the different data that's available online. So really with an API connection, we're going to be able to pull this information right here. You import the fields, and then you can see sort of the relevant data that's in the registry would then be added into this form here. So you would then proceed to creating your project right here on the right-hand side. So once your project is created, for example, here, you would then be able to actually request your service. So you could request a service here from SustainCERT. Right now for Verra, we're offering a verification service. Soon we'll be offering validation services as well. And you can see the different services you can actually request here online. And you would request your service here, and that would be then information would go to the sales team. They would be notified, and we could then look at the commercial terms. So when you go into your project, and again, this is a test environment, so it all has sort of funny names, UVD test example. Here, this is the most important page really for you. And this is what the platform is offering right now, is that you would be able to manage the different phases of the verification process here. So you can manage the contracting phase, a planning phase, and the execution phase all in one area. So for example, in the contracting phase here, you can see that the main areas in contracting are all going to be managed on the platform. So you have a client pre-engagement form, which is here. Your MSA form is here. Team nomination, so who's going to be nominated in your team to do the audit. This would all be managed here. For example, if you open up the form, you can see client pre-engagement form here. And a lot of the information would already be pre-filled from the project registration information that we would have. You'd indicate if there's a conflict of interest, so impartiality risk and technical scope and all that would be approved, and you'd be able to see that all online. So the same thing here, you'd be able to see who is your nominated team, etc., and you'd be able to track all this information when the documents have been uploaded, when they've been modified, everything would be here. So you would no longer have to use emails and have your own folder system with all your projects. It could be all centrally managed here on the platform. So the planning phase right here, this is really great because you're going to be able to look at sort of the different dates that have been agreed to. Here you can see sort of a list of different actions that are going to happen. When is the desk review going to be planned for? When is the remote audit being planned? When would the assessment or independent review take place? So you'd have all these dates here, and you'd be able to track if they're confirmed or not confirmed or in progress, etc. So the document here would be the audit plan would be uploaded, and you'd have access to that. So the next phase, which you would be able to manage online here in the platform, would be the execution phase. And I'm just going to jump to one of our wireframes because this is going to be up and running. It's in production. It's almost in production and will be available in about a week or so. So the execution phase really is probably the one you're going to be using the most. Here you can follow the desk review, whether it's closed or not, and the reporting functionality is really following the different review rounds. So here you'd be able to follow sort of the iteration 1 and 2, etc. These are sort of the review rounds. So you would say here, review round 1 is complete. You're in review round 2, and you would see the list of findings that are uploaded and the supporting documents that you can then upload to answer those findings. You'd be able to see when it's uploaded, when has it been modified, and you'd have a list of full files all here in one place. So great. So that brings me to the end of our demo. And so what we're going to do now is actually jump back into the presentation here. And like to see if there's any questions from the audience. So at this point, I'd like to ask the moderator to see if there's any questions that are popping up. Yeah, so I can't actually see if there's any questions been posted at all. But if you let me know if there's any questions, then I could see that.
Nadine, there is one question from Sandeep in the chat,
Yes.
who is asking if any project validated, verified by SustainCERT, and if would that be directly go to the registration issuance stage?
So if anything is, sorry, I don't really understand the question. So if anything's validated and verified from SustainCERT, would it go directly to the issuance stage?
Yes, exactly.
So the process is exactly the same as sort of another VVB process. The only thing here, it's managed in the platform. So any steps that would be required are the exact same steps that we'd have to. So it wouldn't go straight to issuance. For example, for Verra projects, it's still going to be looked at by the Verra team. I think that's probably the question. Yeah. I hope that answers your question, Sandeep. Okay, so there's another hand up by Sandeep Saha. Or maybe that's just a delayed hand up. Hello. Hi.
Am I audible? Hi.
Yes.
Thank
Hi.
you for the presentation. So this
You're
is actually a new information for us because since we are going to start this VVB activity. So my question was just substitute to your answer. For example, if it is a project by Verra and SustainCERT is the VBB, then the project will directly submit it to Verra for the review, for the as usual review they are doing. But in case of gold standard where SustainCERT is doing the review, in that case, after SustainCERT services by SustainCERT for validation verification, so that will be again go for another round of review, or what will be the case?
Yeah, so your question is whether it's going to go for another round of review under the gold standard, GS4GG. Yeah, so there the project would also go for a performance review, yes, but we don't have approval to do a verification or validation service right now for gold standard. So this is for actually Verra, so it would follow the same process. So the project would be submitted to Verra, right? So the review, the opinion would be submitted to Verra. And maybe Shivraj could jump in. He's our director of VV. Maybe he could also add to the answer.
I think, thank you, Nadine. I think you have covered it very well. As of now, I just would like to give you a small clarification that yes, we are at present still doing the micro scale projects under GS, and in Verra, definitely the process, as you mentioned, that we complete the assignment and then we issue the relevant approved documentation to the client themselves, and then they can follow it up with Verra registry. Thanks.
Thanks, Shivraj, for your addition to that. Sandeep, I hope we answered your question sufficiently.
Yeah, thanks. Thank you so much.
Okay. Perfect. Leah, is there any other questions from the audience that we could take right now?
Yes, we have one in the chat. Someone would like to know and you to explain how the digital MRV works, mentioning that it looks like a digital document workflow only.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, good question. So right now what I've presented is basically the digitized workflow and document management, and it really isn't proposing, let's say, anything, let's say, revolutionary. So the revolutionary work that we were doing, it's in our pilot program, and that's really looking at how can we use data science and algorithms to support the work of a verifier, right? So it's actually looking at, getting data in from meters and looking at how to use data science and algorithms to actually flag data and have that in a sort of combined verification process. And so this is not what I'm presenting today. What I'm presenting today really is us as a VVB for Verra, and the fact that we do have an additional feature. So it is a new feature that we're presenting today under the platform, which is allowing for verification to take place in the platform. So for future, definitely it's something that we're working towards very closely with the different actors in the carbon markets, working very closely in pilots, also with the standards to see, how can the verifier digitize some of the work that we're doing. And so we're still working on that. It's not what we're promoting or presenting or offering right now as a service. I hope that answers your question.
Thank you, Nadine. We have another question from Adani Green. Wanted to know whether MR and ER will be prepared in the platform using the data and information given by the project developer.
Yes, that's a good question. So in the platform that I presented today, not. So the monitoring report would still have to be prepared by the project developer and then submitted onto the platform for review by our auditors, including the emission reduction calculation. But the proposal that we had, sort of what we're working on in a future scenario, indeed, it could be something like, oh, maybe the platform could have a feature where the monitoring report would be created for the project developer, where the emission reduction calculation would be created for the project developer. So this is something that we were piloting, but it's not what we're offering today. That's the sort of the future vision. Great.
Thank
So
you,
you're welcome.
We have another question. How far along is the pilot for including data science, and when will we see it?
Yeah, that's a good question. So we've been working with the pilots for quite some time already, and the idea was to come out. There is already some publications that we've actually come out with, but we're still working on it right now. The pilot program is on hold. We're going to restart that again as soon as we have sort of clear objectives of what we want to do in a phase 2, for example. We're working very closely with Verra on a weekly basis as well to try to actually frame a pilot that we can do with them. So yeah, maybe you can reach out to me. More to come soon. We haven't really come out with any sort of results or paper around it yet. It was more really testing the actual onboarding process. Can we do a connection to meters? Can we get the data in? And it's something that we're actually progressing further with Verra as well. So maybe reach out to me if you're interested in joining, and then we can take it from there.
Thank you. There are no additional questions for now.
Okay. Great. Then what we can do is actually come to an end of the presentation. I understand that the recording will be shared with all participants today, and also for the participants or the ones who've registered but actually couldn't participate. So definitely looking forward to hearing from you. Please reach out to us if you want to have any other information about our service that we're offering or around DMRV. We're going to be at the Asian Climate Summit as well, which is in Tokyo, and we're going to be leading a panel there with actually standards for them to give updates on their DMRV work. So looking forward to seeing you guys there, and wish you all a very good day. Thank you. Bye-bye.